The Simpsons Index, an online spreadsheet that is also a podcast. This is the podcast, and here is your host, Elliot J. O'Neill. Welcome to The Simpsons Index, episode 8. I'm your host, Elliot J. O'Neill, and joining me tonight is...
Dave Todd.
And...
Liz Stowe.
Welcome, guys. We just watched Season 4, episode... Dave?
Season 4, I can't remember which episode, but it was...
Marge versus the Monorail.
Yeah, disc 3, the second
Don't
one.
look at me, I don't know.
Alright.
I have no answers.
We can edit all this out.
It was a good one.
So yeah, guys, what did you think?
Excellent.
I know, right?
Yeah, it's fantastic.
It's just a classic.
Pure classic. And like, as ridiculous as the ending gets, like, you're there all the way because it done such good work setting up the story. Like, the thing that I like is that there's one through line, and the only time they're sort of bouncing between stories is in the third act, when it's like Marge getting the assistance to help with the monorail versus Homer dealing with the crisis of the monorail. And that tension of bouncing between the stories is good because it was so built up, a solid through line throughout the rest of it, I think.
Totally
What about you
agree.
guys?
I love the references. There's the Beverly Hills Cop reference. There's the Flintstones reference at the beginning. And I just love, this is a really quotable episode, which is you'll find the earlier seasons are just really quotable and great.
Yeah.
Homer is dumb but lovable, and that's also part of the earlier sort of seasons. And the repeat phrases, I call the big one Bitey.
Yes.
And
So many quotable moments. And just like that Flintstones song, let's not gloss over that. I sang that a million times. That was a
Yes.
playground chant.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Totally agree.
And I also like the fact that it was like the Simpsons writers having a go at themselves for everyone saying, well, you know, the Simpsons, it's just the Flintstones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like a reworking. And, well, yeah, I mean, like, it's the nuclear family, but from prehistoric times. But, you know, everyone's going to do that at some point.
Exactly.
Yeah, and the other song, the Monorail song. Oh my god.
Yes,
Sung that
actually.
so many times.
Original songs as well.
Yes.
Like, you know, on the Songs from the Key of Springfield
Yeah.
album
Yep.
stuff.
Like, they're actually singing their own song. They're not just reworking some other song.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The ring came off my pudding can. Like, I think that one line alone, I know my mother just couldn't get enough of that, and she'd always just sing that one line. Like, yeah.
It was great.
Yeah.
Also, another thing that should be noted is multiple characters in the one episode. So Krusty, we had Kent Brockman, Smithers, Mr. Burns, Quimby, Miss Hoover, Wiggum, all in the one episode, which I think I just love to see in the old
Also, I want to
Simpsons.
add to that, it was kind of nice to see Lurleen Lumpkin as well.
True.
So, like, even though she was
From her
sounding
week-long
like...
stay at the Petty Ford Clinic.
Yeah, sounding like Lunch Lady Doris now, like a
Yeah.
far cry from like her sweet voice. And like also like they kind of hid in the background there Carl, Homer's original assistant from
Oh, I
like
missed
his
that.
like hair regrowing tonic episode. Yeah, I thought it was a nice touch. It was a gentle Simpsons throwback within Simpsons.
Yep, and the Leonard Nimoy cameo, that was handled
Yes.
so well.
Great.
As him being the overbearing Star Trek personality.
Exactly.
May the force be with you.
You even know who I am.
You are the one of the little rascals, right?
Excellent. Oh, just on Chief Quimby as well, like, remember when they used to do Chief Wiggum and Mayor Quimby bits? Like,
Yes.
that is such an early Simpsons thing of, like, them undermining each other's authority. And
Like the tension between them, like you don't really see much of it, but like occasionally it just boils to the surface. It was like such a tenuous relationship.
yeah, but they never even did that past, like, I think this might have even been the last time they did Mayor Quimby versus Chief Wiggum moment. Another one of Homer's jobs as well.
Yeah, that's a good point.
One of the
He
many,
does have it. He
yeah.
has probably been through every single job category
Yeah, why not
in the
monorail
history.
conductor?
Yeah.
But
And the Monorail school.
Yeah.
Also another great cutaway.
Actually, has the monorail in Sydney shut down yet?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
completely gone now.
They've taken it down.
It is the most like pointless bit of transport, isn't it?
Yes.
It was special. I mean, like you got special tokens and coins, and then you'd pay real money to get the token, and then you'd take the token, and then you would pay that to the person like at the gates, and then you would get in.
Simple.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Nice and easy to
It's
use this
fun.
like incredibly overpriced method of transport in a a city with a centralized population.
Yes.
Oh, what else can we say about this episode? Oh, so many good moments. Mono
Yeah.
means one, rail means rail.
Yeah. Genghis Khan bit as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why defile? Eat
Well, yeah,
who I eat.
that actually brings up a good point. Is the fantasies that they'd have,
Yes.
which is sort of like an early version of cutaway gags, I guess.
Yeah.
But
Bart
Yeah.
and the giant ants.
Yes,
as
because we
well.
all know how this money must no, I've screwed it up. How this money must be spent.
Yes.
Giant mechanical ants.
Yeah.
And then cue
Absolutely.
Simpsons theremin music. Oh, love it.
It took a couple of like weird, wild steps to get there. You know. Sorry, Mr. Burns and Smithers dump toxic waste into trees, which leads to Mr. Burns getting arrested and fined $3 million, which the town now has a meeting to decide how to spend.
Totally.
Which gets into the monorail, which starts Act 2. Like, it's a few wild jumps, but they just handle it so well.
One of
Yeah.
my favorite parts is the that tree held 9 drums, and there's like the squirrel
Yeah, the
that like
tentacles,
the
yeah.
squirrel that like laser beams the acorn off the tree and then eats it with its gigantic
Extendo tongue,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's like one of my favorite
It's so
Simpsons
good.
moments as well.
Yeah.
It's just a great joke.
Yeah, and then pulling in Mr. Burns to court as Hannibal. And
Yeah, that's another. I missed that reference actually.
Yeah.
So there was Beverly Hills Cop, The Flintstones,
Oh, yeah.
and then Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Silence of the Lambs.
Oh yeah,
Really,
the Axel
really-
F. I
That's
forgot
pretty
about
good.
that. Yeah. So many
I
good.
also love that he just has $3 million as like walking around change.
And then he buys the statue.
Yeah.
of
I'll also pay that
Justice.
later.
Yeah, I'll take that Statue
Statue
of
of
Justice
Justice.
too. Sold. Boom. Gavel is like an auction hammer. Yeah, love it.
Yeah. It's just this episode is really dense, and if you know, we sound like
I agree.
we're trying hard to figure out something to say about it. It's because it was so dense that so many of the moments just pass you by.
It's what is it like? It's like a very rich dessert. Like you're never gonna pick up all of the flavors, but you're just really happy that you're eating it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why did we start with our dessert first?
We did.
We
Start with
really
dessert
did.
first.
Oh, bring on the
Totally.
broccoli, I guess.
All right, let's do the questionnaire. Do you remember watching this back in the day at all, or any memories of early viewings?
Yep. I
Yeah.
remember lying on the floor in front of the TV with carpet, not very unlike the carpet, which I'm touching with my feet right now, feeling it like press into my skin, but I didn't care because I was lying in front of the TV for The Simpsons at my grandparents' house. Yeah.
And it is one of the more child-friendly episodes that you can watch with the whole family.
Yeah.
Like, the only gruesome, gory bit is when the twins get separated.
On the cheap, yes. I love
But
it.
even then, if you like slow down the animation, you see that it separates them, and the one on the right is still wearing the shirt,
Yes,
like where the incision is.
I always noticed that. There's no blood. It's like complete shirt.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
that's awesome. That's a surgeon and a tailor all in one M. Liz, do you remember watching this back in the day? Or?
I vaguely, very vaguely, I don't have any recollection of watching this specific episode, but I've seen it so many times. I know I must have. So
Yeah,
yeah, somewhere around there.
yeah. I mean, it was one of the most off-quoted episodes, and literally the two songs, the Flintstones parody and the Monorail song, were just chants on the school field.
Yep.
Yeah.
Totally.
This episode is definitely one that you guys revisit often. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
We were quoting
On
it
the road.
even while watching it.
Yeah.
Now we're
Yeah.
quoting it. Yep.
I was doing that thing where I was just mouthing it the whole time.
Yeah. Exactly. Along with.
That sounds weird for audio, but do you see yourself watching this episode again?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
And this comes recommended.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. Top level.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, top shelf.
All right. Any jokes that you only noticed on this or recent viewing, stuff that flew over your head as a kid? I know for me, they may have edited out, I can't remember, but Mayor Quimby saying, go ahead, I'll entertain myself with this pack of pornographic playing cards.
Yes. For me, probably the, hey, it says I get a pig every month, and 2 comely lasses true, a virtue true. I probably didn't notice that as a kid more, like, probably viewing it a few more times, I've, like, appreciated that joke a whole lot more. The town charter is great.
I mean, like, pretty much everything is ringing true for me. Like, I don't think there's a moment of this episode that I can't really, like, see and remember. Like, oh, yeah, I remember that. Oh, I remember this bit.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember that bit. oh, wait, this bit. Oh, that bit. It's, yeah, I mean, like, it's just...
It's an episode full of, oh, that bit.
Yeah.
All right, let's comment on the wackiness of this episode. Now... It started from a wacky place, and then it wasn't wacky as they were building the monorail, and then at the end it was just all balls out wacky.
I don't know. I mean, like, I think there have been wackier Simpsons moments, like Virgin.
Sure, but you pointed it out yourself, the rope and the It's
Well, yeah. I mean, like, that extremely unbreakable, like, Cowboys... what would you call it?
Lasso.
Yeah, lasso rope.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know the cowboy lingo.
Neither.
But yeah, I mean, like, in terms of, like, outrageously wacky, like, sort of, like, oh, shit, that'd never happen.
Octotree.
Yeah. Well...
Laser beam squirrel snake thing.
Yeah.
All right, well, look, you're sounding more and more convincing here, Elliot, but... I don't know. I mean, like, I think as a kid, like, I had that level of suspension of disbelief there where it all just seemed real. Like, even, like, the tree with, like, tentacles and, like, the squirrel with laser eyes and, you know, the unbreakable rope and, you know, an M pulled off the side of a monorail launching itself into a donut to, like, stop a runaway monorail. But yeah, I mean, like, none of it kind of seemed wacky. It all made sense within the episode for me.
Well, they did do a good job of setting up the story and grounding it, so, you know, we're on board for this monorail ride.
Yeah. I mean, like, I think it was keeping me entertained enough and keeping me happy enough. And I wasn't groaning to the point where I'm like, yeah, you know, go nuts, go crazy, make it as wacky as you want. I'm just going to believe every single last second of it.
And then at the end, they just put some icing on the wacky cake with the popsicle stick tower, the magnifying glass, and the escalator to nowhere.
Yeah.
Items of which I paid all too much money for in the game Tapped Out. Glad I'm not paying that anymore. Liz, why don't you talk about the heart of this episode? Where was the heart?
Ooh, okay. I love Marge's concern for Homer. Obviously, she tries to save the day. She actually ends up, you know, in a way saving the day by getting was it the guy from...
Batman?
Yeah, exactly. It's not Batman.
The scientist.
But yeah, she gets the scientist. She ends up kind of saving the day, you know, getting him. And I love the repeat phrases part that I call the big one bitey. Is there a chance the track could bend? I've sold monorails to, what is it? Ogdenville, Brockhaven, and
North
Haverbrook. And it kind of harks back to the Lisa needs braces.
Yeah.
Dental plan, you know. Yeah. So that's really, I like that human element. We all have the, you know, repeating kind of, you know, phrases in our mind. So there's that kind of human I love that part. I like the, you know, trying to save him, and I thought that was really the heartwarming moment.
Yeah, because no one was going to listen to her, like, ever, because she brought up the thing about Main Street, and then Grandpa goes, oh, we could, and then they're all on Grandpa's side.
Main Street.
I inferred and again it.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it.
Yeah, so it was up to her to save the day, literally.
Yeah.
Also, I think with Bart starting to look up to Homer as well, like they're doing that little test, and it's like,
Yes.
can
Good
you get
point.
Mono from riding the monorail? It's like, false. No, wait, I think that's true. It's like, no, Dad, seriously, like you answered it, you were right the first time. False. Like you really are going to be a monorail. It's like you can hear the pride in his voice. You can like see like the
That's a good
awe in
point.
his little animated eyes.
And another, and Homer notices and is like, you can change your name to Homer Jr. The kids can call you Hoju.
Hoju.
And I'm constantly doing that. Like, one of my favorite ones to do is Bowser Jr. in Mario Kart. He's like one of my favorite characters, and I'm always calling him Bowju.
Bowju. Oh,
That's
so
great.
much cuteness.
Did this feel like an episode of The Simpsons?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
It's almost
Yeah.
quintessential.
Yes.
Any other quotable moments?
You're yeah,
I
there's
remember.
just too many.
I remember the Flintstones. He's about to hit a chestnut tree. I
Yeah.
remember absolutely pissing myself laughing about that as a kid
Yeah.
and quoting it in the schoolyard, like you said. That was a real quotable moment.
So endlessly funny.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I think like the problem with this episode is that there's just so many quotable moments that when asked like, hey, quote one, they all play at the same time in your head,
It's
and you
basically
just
the
can't
whole
make sense
episode.
Yeah.
of like the jumble of them.
Yeah.
Like it takes watching the episode to actually untangle that string.
Yeah.
So you can actually rattle them off properly.
Well, actually, I think before we rank this thing at R.I.P. Phil Hartman, right? Oh my
Yes.
God, Phil, what a talent, and just excelling as Lyle Lanley, the shady monorail salesman.
Exactly.
Actually, I got to point out that, like, as a salesman, I strive to be like Lyle Langley.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like if I'm not like convincing someone that I'm not the devil, and then selling them $3 million worth of goods, I'm not doing my job as a salesman, probably.
Well, the monorail only takes 1 minute to ride. Oh, my plane leaves in less than 1 minute.
But
Exactly.
play to Lisa's ego. Like, he's not as smart as Lisa, but he's smarter because he knows how.
Oh,
to
he
play
knows how to play her. Like, he's
Yeah.
like, like, you've asked a very intelligent question. I'm going to flatter the shit out of you based on your intelligence to the point that you will forget that I didn't answer your question. My God, I want to
exactly.
do that. Lyle Lanley, teach me your ways.
Yeah, rest in peace, Phil Hartman. This show is definitely not the same without you.
Oh, totally.
All right, let's rank this thing. Kick it off, Dave.
Oh, top rank, maximum rank.
Cubic zirconia?
Yeah, Cubit Zirconia. It is top level for me. One of the ones I will always go back to. Always going to be quoting. And if I have fond memories of The Simpsons, like this is going to be in that montage in my brain.
Yep. Liz?
Easy. Yeah, cubic zirconia.
All right.
Absolutely agree.
Yep. Bronze, I get? Nah. Nah, total cubic
Oh,
zirconia for me. Beat said something good on one of the other episodes, which was, the cubic zirconias have got to be episodes that The Simpsons wouldn't be The Simpsons without. And this one is just so widely loved by everyone. And
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that it's half of the Simpsons against liberals material at the moment is coming from it.
Yeah. Rich
Absolutely.
people, it's got con artists, it's got useless fucking infrastructure like investments. Oh, it is ripe for the political taking.
Yeah, one of my favorite ones was the Malcolm Turnbull as Mr. Snurub.
Oh,
I
yeah.
agree with Mr. Snurub.
I like how this Snurub thinks. All right, cool. Well, we're going to watch another episode now, and Dave, you're picking the 10 to 19s. Liz is picking the 10 to 19s.
Yeah.
Thank God for editing. This will seem seamless.
Season 11, I think I picked.
Yeah, all right.
Season 11.
Season 11 mystery
and I think
episode.
I randomly picked episode 4, I think. I
Alright.
don't know what it is. I just took a stab in the dark.
All right, well, we'll find out what that episode is, and we'll be back in a moment. And we are back. We just watched our second episode for the evening, which was Season 11, Episode 3. Look Who's Coming to Criticize Dinner, I think it's called. Anyway, guys, what'd you think?
Wasn't too bad, actually. I mean, like, I've seen worse Simpsons episodes. I had a couple of laugh out loud moments in this one. That was nice.
Liz?
Yeah, I agree. I wasn't expecting to laugh as much as I did,
Yeah.
given that it was a season 11, which is one of the later ones. Which sounds very judgmental. I'm not meaning to be.
No. It's better to come into these, newer episodes with low expectations.
Yeah.
Given that the first time we saw the early ones, we had no expectations.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Like-
I was surprisingly,
Yeah, I think, like, we're treating
entertained.
everything post season 10 as a dirty word.
Yeah, a little
Yeah.
bit. No, I thought
And
it
there's
was
17
good.
seasons of that. Doesn't that feel horrible?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
A lot of dirty.
Just a quick synopsis of the episode. So, basically, Homer gets a job at the newspaper to be a food critic, and, of course, as they say, it lands up with him being the target of international assassins. But
It's zany.
whereas it sounds zany, but I thought the story unfolded very nicely and very, it didn't... I thought they did a good job of handling the story in this one. Like,
Yeah.
even the start, it was even less wacky than the setup for the Monorail episode. They go to the shopper for a school excursion. Homer's being a parental guardian, and he just wanders off from the tour because he's a bad guardian and stumbles into a job at the paper. And I thought that was a nice setup, handled with some good jokes about him being able to hear pudding. And
I like the Homer, the dummy, with the
Oh,
recording at work that gets promoted, which I thought was really funny.
So yeah, I think you're right, Dave. But it's sort of reusing that same joke, but maybe he's just learning from what Marge did.
Well, yeah, I mean, like,
Yeah.
it is definitely a callback to the barbershop quartet, like Homer being on the road and, like, having to replace the father figure for the kids. And I'm pretty sure it's the same bucket, it's the same gloves, it's the same twigs, and if not the exact same tape recorder, like the exact same brand and make and model, because it also,
Probably.
like, destroys itself at high volume and reverse
Yeah.
speed, and ends up burning down his lovely office.
Good point. Good.
That he gets a promotion for.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great
So,
little gag.
Yeah. So again, like Mr. Burns, just being incredibly senile, mistaking him for the real Homer, thinking he's doing a fantastic job, promoting him, only to have him fuck up as much as he has because he is Homer.
He did work hard for the money.
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, I liked how this episode put Homer and Lisa together,
Yeah.
having Lisa's smarts help out with Homer's job.
Yeah, definitely a daddy-daughter episode.
And then Lisa ultimately saving Homer
Yeah.
in the end.
Yeah.
And after they have a divide, classic storytelling.
Yes.
Wow.
Yep.
And yeah, it doesn't feel like a lot of later episodes just sort of spend the time explaining themselves and not having a lot of jokes and material around that. And I thought this one did a good job of having Homer feeling pressure from other reviewers to be more critical, and then Lisa not liking that, and
Always
yeah,
give in to peer pressure.
yeah,
Always.
I don't know. I guess the weakness in this episode for me was some of the jokes just fell flat, and
Yeah. Weren't as funny as they
I
could
think it
have
was like
been.
it was at the very beginning of the failed joke sort of blight, which sort of hits The Simpsons in the later episodes. Like you get a little bit of a taste of it here, but like it's not so much that you think they're doomed.
Yeah.
It's just enough to think, oh, okay, that wasn't funny. I'll just wait for the next one. And the next one actually, succeeding and getting like a ha 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 ha. Okay, that was cool. But you kind of don't get that in some of the later ones, which
Yeah.
I guess we will see eventually when we review those ones.
yeah.
That's a good point.
The jokes that come to mind that I didn't like were Homer swearing in the car.
I noticed. Yeah.
That just
actually
felt
noticed.
very off-brand for The Simpsons.
Yeah.
It was like vulgarity for the point of vulgarity. I mean,
Yep.
like Homer does definitely swear in some earlier episodes, but it's always kind of like well deserved. It's not just him going off.
At an ambulance.
Yeah. I mean, like, he definitely is, like, I mean, like, the joke is that his aggression is overwhelming by that point. He's just being the angry dad driving the car and just being, stupid and angry. But, yeah, there was no real sort of tie-in to the humor of that. It was just he's angry. That's funny.
for the sake of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And lots of bleeps and stuff, and that's not Simpsons.
Yeah,
Simpsons
that was
doesn't
a
have
bit
bleeps.
bizarre.
Yeah. I mean, like falling back on the bleep jokes it's lazy humor.
It is.
Yeah.
And speaking of lazy humor, they had a contradicting pair of jokes where Marge says, "You know, Homer, that he doesn't work on that typewriter," and they do a bunch of gags about him working around not having an E, and that's kind of funny. But then immediately when he hands in his review in the cut to the next scene, he says, "You keep using words like Pescetti and Mamados, and the words screw Flanders appear over and over again. All of those words need E's." Like, that just bugs the fuck out of me.
I mean, like, unless he spaced over them and wrote it in physically with a pen.
Yeah. It's always bugged me about this episode.
That's a good point.
Any other thoughts, Liz?
I was thinking that this episode, I actually remember watching it the first time when I was a bit older, obviously, because this is sort of a newer episode, is it reminded me of a Twilight episode, which, Twilight Zone, not Twilight. Very, very different. A Twilight Zone episode, which was about a food critic who would always give bad reviews.
Yeah.
And that was his kind of shtick or whatever. And then he totally got his comeuppance because he ended up
Being Hitler?
sort of.
So Twilight Zone. Yeah.
But he ended up getting his comeuppance, and that's all I really remember from that Twilight Zone. But he used to make like this. He had this little graveyard, and he would every restaurant that he destroyed, he would make a little tombstone, and he would have the name of the restaurant, which would have, you know, and he'd put a little tombstone in the graveyard for every restaurant that he destroyed. And this episode kind of reminds me of that, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's not a reference to that.
Well, Simpsons getting their ideas from Twilight Zone, yeah, they do that all the time.
Yeah, exactly,
I wouldn't
that's
be
true.
surprised.
But
So, like, it wasn't exactly an homage,
No,
if you will,
it wasn't.
but it definitely sort of took liberties with that episode, perhaps.
I think so. It just reminds me. It's quite similar. And then the who will never get his comeuppance sort of thing.
Act
Like
break.
I thought that
should
was
be
quite
act
funny.
break. So yeah, just a note on the story as well. There wasn't a B storyline really. It was just A throughout, and the acts were well paced as well. The end of Act 1 is Homer getting the job. The end of Act 2 is the divide between Homer and Lisa, and then sets it up for the being the target of international assassins in the later act. But I gotta say, again, much like the Monorail, great use of the B characters and
that's a good point.
keeping them in the B roles. Like Akira, even though that wasn't a George Takei Akira. Old Sea Captain, Luigi, they all had great roles. And I've always Choppy, you're good. Stravenge.
Seem to have taken a nick out of my ear.
Yeah.
Touche.
Questionnaire. So yeah, Liz, you were saying you remember watching this back in the day. Any other memories of back then or off
Very vague. I haven't seen this episode very many times at all. I'd probably say this is the second time I've seen it.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but I do remember it. It does stick out.
Dave?
I think I do remember watching this, but it was on a second run, so it was a repeat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't necessarily a thrilling episode for me to remember. It was just like, oh yeah, The Simpsons was on that time. Cool. I just want to like check the internet real quick or check my phone, whatever, and like I'll have it on in the background, but it was, I mean, not necessarily like, oh, I remember that when that was on, and I was wearing my comfy pants, and I was around these people, and I was drinking this one type of tea. I mean, like, there's no real strong memories linked with this thing.
I don't remember watching it back in the day, so yeah, I think it would have been released about 2001, 2002 in Australia if it's season 11, but I do remember, hey Sheridan, watching it with Sheridan one time when we were super hungover and we just kept repeating the Chewy thing over and over again. And that just sticks to me as one of the memories because I don't actually really remember watching it before then, but I've owned the DVDs, and so I think I've seen this like 10 times or something. I actually like this episode. So yeah, you guys sort of covered it. Not an episode that's been revisited besides it being on the background when they're playing the phone and all that.
Yeah,
Really?
pretty much. I mean, yeah, it's not like a mainstay for us, but it's not one that I would switch off.
Fair enough, Liz. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Would you revisit it?
Yeah, I probably would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like on purpose, like put it on.
Yeah. Okay. I wouldn't say it's a memorable episode.
Oh, okay.
I would say that it's...
If it's on, it's on. You wouldn't
there's nothing really apart from the similarity to the Twilight Zone, which it isn't really referencing.
Yeah.
That's probably the only thing that I would remember about it, is that it's similar to the Twilight Zone. It's not referencing... Yeah, I don't know.
So you wouldn't purposely put the episode on?
Not really. It did have some funny jokes, but not. Yeah, doesn't really stick out as a.
I guess if it's part of a disc that's also got some killer episodes, which I don't think it is. Season 11 has some serious down moments. Would you recommend this to other people, Dave?
I'd definitely put it like very sort of like middle to low on my list of recommended episodes. I mean, there are definitely much more insightful episodes, those episodes which would have much more of an impact, that I would place definitely well ahead of this one. So I'd say don't purposely put it on, but if it is on, maybe just give it a sideways glance. Like it wouldn't necessarily be a switcher offer. Yeah.
Fair enough, Liz.
I think there'd have to be a very specific reason that I would put it on, like that I was putting together a list of episodes that are similar or referencing the Twilight Zone.
Fair enough.
Or are food related, or are Homer and Lisa specific related episodes.
Or Homer and Job ones.
That's exactly. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, 2 Homer getting Job.
Yeah, that's another Homer job.
Oh yeah, I mean, I actually really do recommend this to other people. It's one of my favorites of the second decade, certainly, and I love the jokes in this episode, and unlike newer episodes, the story unfolds better. So I think this is an argument for people to watch more later episodes. Wackiness. Not particularly wacky.
Yeah, there have definitely been wackier.
Yeah. I laughed quite a bit. So.
Well, the Homer being able to smell out the cake. It says farewell and best wishes. Pretty wacky, but otherwise it's just Homer being a food critic.
Yeah.
I guess some of the implied jokes around it were more wacky, which I actually kind of like when you don't see what they're talking about, especially when they're talking about Homer being such a glutton. I've seen him eat a bowl of change. And
it's more jokey, like sort of wackiness, as opposed to like zany wackiness where they're flying or like going to the moon or
You don't actually see a horse's head in Homer's bed. They just say
he ate the horse.
That he just ate it and gave it a bad review.
So there was a little bit of heart between Homer and Lisa. It wasn't serious.
I mean, like it was definitely another one of those like sort of daddy-daughter kind of episodes.
Homer and Lisa bond over something. Homer is an asshole. Lisa turns against him, and then ultimately she loves her dad and doesn't want him to die from pastry. So
there wasn't that. I don't know. There wasn't that sort of. There wasn't a focus on that. Usually they'd have like heartwarming music, or there's a pause, like a reflection of how Homer realizes that Lisa, he loves her or something like that. I didn't think that was there.
Yeah. No.
It was sort of glossed over.
I think when it comes to like the Daddy Daughter episodes, like pretty much you're always going to relate back to that one episode where it's Daddy Daughter like football season. Because I think like that's
the ultimate of their heart.
But
I mean like that's the closest point where they have, and like every episode there on after is them
I'm going to interrupt because there's the one where Homer breaks into the Egyptian museum one, and there's
so much heart there.
Yeah, and there's that where they they actually open up the little what is it? That little Egyptian
The
sort of music
Orbivices.
box. Yeah, the
Yeah,
music
that's like a 10 or an 11. That one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
definitely
that's
up there.
a really important like daddy-daughter episode.
But would you say it has more emphasis on the daddy-daughter than the football one?
Well, no,
Like the
I'd say
whole
they're
premise of the
pretty
football thing is
even.
on.
Like one
Nah,
is probably.
Yeah, that sort of like comes together at the end, whereas like the daddy-daughter one is just pulling the heartstrings all the time.
Yeah.
But no, you're right. Like there are so many feels at the end of the Egyptian whatever.
Isn't that the
episode.
Lost Lisa? Isn't that the Lost Lisa one?
Yeah.
where she takes the bus.
Yeah. So that's like, and like Homer realizes his massive fuck up of like letting his like, what is it? She's like 10-year-old daughter
I could
ride the bus.
take a limousine,
Yeah,
but that's
exactly.
going to be $300.
Yeah.
All right.
So now we're talking about an episode which is like several seasons previous to the episode we're
But again,
actually
like
reviewing.
it does relate back because again, like you're seeing how like the whole daddy-daughter
Well,
sort of like relationship as it goes down the episodes.
In
It
regards
still stays
to
strong,
those
but
ones.
it just seems like it fades off.
Well, like, in regards to those episodes of daddy-daughterness, I think this one definitely doesn't have the same heartstring.
But
it
there's the
pales off,
bumps.
but it's still there.
And even then, like when the stakes in the end of the episode is Homer is about to be killed, you don't ever feel like that's a possibility.
Yeah,
Whereas in
true.
the daddy-daughter football episode, you feel like Lisa's gonna fucking stonewall him forever.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
that's
she's
true.
gonna hate him for the rest of her life, and that would be like a pivotal moment for The Simpsons, like
Yeah.
a massive fracture
But
between
they make
like.
it hilarious, though. Like,
They
that's
do.
what it's you know.
Oh, we should watch that one next.
Nah.
So, did this feel like an episode of The Simpsons overall?
I'm gonna say yes, it did. I mean, like it definitely had some moments in there where I'm like, hey, you're trying, you're trying to be funny, and it's not quite getting there. But overall, I think it was still Simpsons for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Liz?
I agree. There was like, past like the Gil cameo and Akira and sort of B grade characters, which I enjoyed seeing. Like, I enjoy seeing that in the newer kind of seasons. So yeah, it felt very Simpsons.
Yeah, I think overall it felt very Simpsons-y. It was a very Simpsons type storyline.
Yeah.
Homer gets a weird job and it causes something in the family, and then stakes are raised at the end. Yeah, I thought, but unlike the older episodes, there weren't any moments when they weren't smiling. It was all jokes all the time. Not like emotional Simpsons. Any other quotable moments that you can think of?
I think when like the French guy is like leaning over like the eclair of death, and he's like, "That's a spicier meatball."
Saying it in a French accent. Yeah. I like when he's describing the eclair with the recipe book and everyone's reaching for it and he goes, no, this is just a picture. It's like they forgot.
Oh yeah, with the drooling.
Yeah, and Homer's reviews, like the ones he wrote, with numerous threatening references to the UN, and and then in the second one, it's like
The potatoes are all like, grrr.
Yeah. Sounds like it was written by a dog. Yeah. Oh, and his singing of the cover of "I Feel Pretty."
Yeah,
I almost know the.
I thought that was pretty good, actually.
Like hot dogs with mustard and beer. I could even eat a baby deer. La 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 la. Who's the baby deer on the lawn? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's rank this thing. Liz, kick it off.
Ooh. Yeah, this is difficult. I have to say, in between bronze and silver, a good episode. I wouldn't say it was great, though. I have to say I'm leaning more towards bronze.
Okay.
Yeah, it felt like it was let down in a few instances. Like, just fell a bit flat. But it was a good episode. I enjoyed it. There was a few laughs, but yeah, just not really completely memorable.
Okay, fair enough. Dave?
Yeah.
For me, I'm gonna give it like a solid medium silver. Like it definitely made me laugh out loud. Like it got like a good solid ha 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 out of me like from time to time, and it definitely still had the soul of the Simpsons in there. There were a couple of fall downy moments, but not enough for me to say like you suck. So I liked it. Still Simpsons for me. Silver medal.
Yep. All right. Maybe my knowledge of the mid-range seasons and how bad they get is skewing my opinion right now, but I do love this episode enough to give it a gold. I love the jokes. I do reference this one constantly, and this one just sticks so well in my memory, and now like I feel it holds up to that. And so I'm giving it a gold. The split decision.
Yeah.
But like a split three-way, like bronze, silver, and gold.
Yeah.
Yeah, trifecta.
In my defense, it's a very high bronze.
You did say between bronze and silver.
Between bronze and silver. So
it's
in
okay.
the episode's defense, it's a high bronze.
High bronze.
Oh no, and the split decision reflects that, and it's like I keep saying, if you could give it a Brilver, you probably would have. All right, and now we're going to the season 26, I think it was, episode called The Dark Knight Court. Ooh. Have either of you guys seen this episode?
No, I don't think so.
If it's past season 9, you just you just gotta know.
This one's the Batman parody.
Oh, goody.
You sound so excited.
Yeah, well.
All right, place your bets. Who do you reckon's Batman in this?
Ooh, please be Adam West.
Oh, out of the Simpsons characters.
Oh.
Not including Adam West, yes. I know, he's a Simpsons character, sort of.
Probably Homer, I guess.
Well, I mean, like, if I am to reference...
All right, it wasn't any of the Simpsons family, because, as you know, Homer's Pie Man.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, if I am going to reference every previous episode, Marge versus Monorail, Smithers actually saves Mr. Burns in a very Batman-esque way by a grappling gun up. Where does he get such wonderful toys? Those wonderful toys.
All right, Smithers. Yeah. All right, Liz, who do you think's Batman in this?
Oh, I really have no idea, actually.
Just any of the B characters.
B characters?
That could be Batman.
Yeah, Smithers makes sense. Yeah, or Skinner maybe. So Smithers or Skinner? I have no idea.
All right, well, you'll be thoroughly disappointed. All right, let's watch this thing.
Okay.
Okay, and that was The Dark Knight Court. What do you guys think?
I didn't hate it. I actually didn't hate it. I have to admit I kind of liked it.
Season 24, episode 16, The Dark Knight Court. Yeah, I didn't mind it. Liz?
Yeah, I feel the same way. I thought I actually laughed quite a bit.
Yeah, just to quickly recap the story, it starts out at a Blue Vomit Festival. Sorry, just laughing because we thought that Mayor Quimby said Blue Vomit, but it was Blue Bonnet.
Oh, it was, what's his face?
Oh, Ken Brockman.
Ken Brockman.
Yeah. One of two people announcing these things at the town gatherings.
Yeah.
And everyone's in town for the Easter Bonnet Parade, and there's a brass band, and there's eggs come flying out of the brass instruments, and cover everyone, and everyone thinks that Bart did it, which sets up the storyline of him being
on
trial in youth court, which I'll get back to that in a second. And then for some reason Burns was there, and he wanders into the comic book store and, unrelated to the other storyline, decides to become Fruit Batman, and then the stories clunkily come together at the end.
So clunkily.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It made me laugh.
I like all the
Fruit
Batman stuff.
Me too.
Like, Smithers, humouring Mr. Burns as he wants to be a superhero, but he's just paying people off, and...
Yeah.
Yeah, he's pretty much being...
Simpsons.
Yeah, I mean, he's being Mr. Burns' caddy all over again, pretty much.
Agreed.
Yeah,
that's right. It's... that was... Yeah, the Fruit Batman stuff was... but it was mostly, montage jokes of, him arresting various people dressed up as various people. I liked how they made the crazy cat lady Catwoman.
Yes, actually really enjoyed
funny.
that. I will point out, because I did make a few notes about the B grade characters cameos. So there was Uda, Mo, Smithers,
Yeah,
Mr.
Uda got
Burns,
chewed.
It was back.
Cletus, comic book guy.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed seeing all those B grade characters kind of in this episode.
Yeah.
For me, I really like that.
They did one bad thing though, where they had Krusty come in the courthouse scene. Again, youth court, I should clarify.
Yeah.
Where he goes, blah blah blah, I'm here to make a joke, and Lisa's like, what are you doing here? And he goes, I ran down here to make this joke, and it's like,
Yeah.
because you had to explain it, that made it less funny than the already less funny joke.
Yeah. I think like the best way to phrase that is clunk.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like you can hear the wheel turning on that one. That's
Yeah. So look, the youth court stuff, the thing that bothered me most about it is they spent so long explaining it at the end of the first act, and oh god, the end of that first act ended with Homer like creating a distraction, just immediately conducting the symphony. Like, that's one of those jokes that they drag on so long that you go, wait, that's not how music works.
yeah. I think what happened there is they actually paid for the band to turn up. Like, it must have been like a particular one for them to make a point of saying, hey, we've got a band and we're going to make Homer sort of like conduct it. Sounded good.
Yeah. But then they had all the stupid band formation jokes, and
Yeah, that was silly.
like, they were really going to put Bart in a noose because he threw some eggs on you?
Yeah, and they also like pulled out the race card as well.
Yeah,
like, it's
that
like,
was
hey,
weird.
now do me in a sombrero. Now do me sleeping under a cactus. That's race. What? That's how is that right? How is Homer not in a sombrero racist?
It's not like he goes, now draw me, lynching or something. Like,
yeah, exactly. I mean, like, there are many far more racist things to do, like
Guess
him
it's a
sleeping under a
sign over the
cactus.
times.
Yeah,
Very Tumblr PC.
Yeah.
So it just seemed out of place in the episode, I think.
So yeah, and what I was thinking is like that whole like youth court thing could have just been tidied up if it was regular court, and if they found out Judge Snyder wouldn't be impartial because he got hit by the eggs, and then they have Janet Reno come in, who was a voice, because they clearly have had every celebrity on, so why not every politician now?
They had to fit her in somehow. I think youth court was the best way to do it. And I mean, like, even if they referenced, what was it, Das Bus episode?
Yeah.
Where they have, like, the youth court, like, on the island, or, like, kid court
Yeah.
or whatever.
That was
Yeah,
the
with,
Lord of the
like,
Flies.
Yeah, the
reference.
Lord of the Flies take. And, I mean, like, even if they kind of referenced that as an excuse for doing it again, like, it would have made more sense, but they just kind of pulled it out of nowhere, so...
Yeah, and although I did like Lisa as the defense attorney, but even then I don't think it made for great material. And okay, so then when the stories came together at the end, it was that Marge had okay, these are ones where you have to rethink the steps that they went over.
Yeah.
Marge volunteers to wash everyone's clothes. They find that Lisa finds a skirt that has egg smushed on it, not thrown on it, because you'd noticed that after it had been rustling around tumble laundry. And then Marge notices, oh, it's not a skirt, it's a kilt. Who else wears a kilt in this town? It's groundskeeper Willie. And that's one that I'm like, in the older episodes, they would have hinted at it much earlier, so like the audience could feel smart by figuring it out.
Yeah.
But more as now, I think they're dumb for not executing it properly.
Did you just say executing it properly?
Oh.
Oh.
I walked into that one.
But yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean. Like in a lot of earlier episodes, like they would at least make some sort of mention about it so that you could figure it out as the viewer, and then like you would feel smarter, at least involved in the episode a bit more than just having it explained at you. Though, like, I didn't mind the Dragnet sort of reference there, though.
Yeah.
Like, with, like, the steady speaking. Oh, that's the way you think? Yes, that's the way you think. Oh, really? Yes.
Yeah.
You know.
No, that was a good execution. But then, Willie's explanation, oh, I'm a Scottish Presbyterian or something, so I hate Easter. But I did like his line where they're like, we know you did it, Willie. And then he's like, what? The world's better without 4 Welshmen. Wait, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Secret murderer. Yes.
Yeah, that was a good one. So yeah, this episode actually held up better for me than on the first viewing. I actually thought I was going to bring you guys a dumpster fire, but I was sort of pleasantly surprised by the Fruit Batman bits, at least anyway.
Actually, I really enjoyed Fruit Batman.
Yeah, I mean, like, it was kind of nice to see, like, Mr. Burns doing stuff, really. I mean, like, you don't really see him do a whole lot of stuff.
This is one I can... so in the later seasons, you get two types of Mr. Burns. You either get round-eyed Mr. Burns or classic sinister-eyed Mr. Burns. So, like, round eye, when they set up Mr. Burns having round eyes, that's an episode where he's going to be nice.
I need to pay attention to that.
Yeah, you won't not notice it. Like, the first time I remember it popping up is the Loch Ness episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, when he's trying to be nice to everybody.
Yeah.
But yeah, you were pretty close with your guess of Smithers.
Well, yeah.
I actually didn't see Mr. Burns coming.
Yeah.
Well, I guess he is the eccentric millionaire.
Yeah,
So.
Yeah, he does make
it makes sense, but yeah, I didn't see it coming. Oh, it's a nice twist.
Do you see yourself watching this episode again, Liz?
Yeah, actually. Yeah, I'd watch it again.
Alright.
Yeah.
Dave?
I'd never seen it before, so yeah.
Again, the bare minimum qualification, it's on, you're hungover. There's Macca's in front of you. Your hands are kind of greasy, so...
Oh, good Lord. Everything would stay on that. I mean, I can see myself viewing it again. I probably, again, wouldn't purposefully put it on unless I was sort of like including it in part of a list viewing. So, I mean, like if I wanted to watch an episode which had some sort of superhero reference, then yes, I would definitely include this. Because not only does it have Mr. Burns as Fruit Batman, but it also has like Nick Fury and it has like Grandpa Simpson and...
a nice little post-credit sequence of the Dependables.
Yeah, with like, you know, Hans Moleman as like the Iron Lung and I forget the names of the rest of them. I think is it Mrs. Glick as like Hot Flush?
Yeah, and Jasper as Early Bird because he always goes to like Country Kitchen Cafe.
yeah. So
at 4 p.m. for the Early Bird special.
Yeah, which like, you know, I thought was cute. You know, a bit of a Marvel DC crossover there. But still, like, I don't know. I would watch it for that element, but I can't see myself specifically putting it on solely for just that episode viewing.
Yeah. Liz, any more on that? Yeah, watch it again, or?
Yeah, I would watch it again, but like if I was watching all of the rest of the disc,
sure,
probably wouldn't put it on specifically.
All right. Does this come recommended?
Good question.
Again, probably for someone in the situation where they would be wanting to watch like a set of episodes related to a subject.
Sure.
I'd say if I was going to recommend it to someone, it would be specifically for the Fruit Batman bit. Probably not so much for like the youth court or...
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of great material in that part I found.
Yeah. So I mean, like, I probably wouldn't recommend someone switch it off if it was on in the background. But again, I wouldn't specifically recommend it. Say, hey, you know a great episode of The Simpsons?
Sure.
No, it's not this one. No.
Yeah, Liz, does this come recommended?
Doesn't really stick out in my mind as something, particularly memorable.
Fair enough. Alright, so the wackiness, it was pretty wacky because I don't think a school would waste this much time on youth court.
No.
And
or hold a trial.
No. I think if they were really determined, they'd just send Bart to court, which I thought was the better story move. But I guess the Burn stuff is wacky, sort of, but then when you, like, just think about, like, Smithers is paying for all these, like, situations.
Wait, is it, like, come to think of it, was this even a school-based event? I mean, like, was it the church or the school?
It was just Blue Bonnet Day, Easter parade thing, so I guess it's one of those things where they get the local primary school involved because it's a community event.
Yeah, because I was going to think,
it was out the front of the church.
It was at the front of the church, so it was a church-based thing, and it was a school thing as well, because they had the school band.
Yeah.
So they had youth court. Like, why didn't they just give them detention?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, if it was offense against the school, give him detention. If it was a offense against the church, just, you know...
No, but it was an
Sunday
offense
school.
against the town, which means they should have taken him to court for, you know, tarnishing their bonnets and fancy Easter wear with egg.
Disorderly conduct,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah, at least juvie. At least juvenile court.
I think I'm applying too much, like, real world rules against Bart in this situation.
Yeah, but I don't see like how youth court is relatable at all. Like, I mean, unless that's a thing they
really.
do these days in school. Can't imagine they do.
They might.
Heart. Was there heart in this episode?
Not really. Even though Lisa was defending Bart, there wasn't really much.
No.
Again, falling back to Lisa for the
Connection.
heart on this one.
Yeah, but
It's
even
like-
then,
Yeah.
there wasn't even that much. She was just doing it because she likes being right.
Yeah,
And
yeah. She wants to
wasn't doing it to like protect Bart. Really?
I was going to say, though, mind you, there was a kind of a touching moment between Bart and Maggie.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
actually,
Whereas, like, you know,
that's
it's
a good
like,
point. I forgot about that.
I would lie to Lisa, I would lie to Marge, I would lie to Homer, but I would never lie to Maggie. And he's like, I did not pull that prank.
Yeah.
And then Maggie just kind of like eyes him out a bit, and I was like, no, you didn't. And then like shakes her head. And
Or
like,
in Maggie's language.
yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I mean, like, you know, I think like the most heart you get out of this, even though Lisa does, you know, she does a lot of the fighting here. Most of the heart was with Maggie and Bart.
Yeah.
But it was like a
Okay.
fraction of a second.
No, and that was good, but I thought it was undercut by a bad joke follow-up, which was, oh, he passed the Maggie test, and no one ever passes the Maggie test. Like, remember Cookiegate? And then Homer was like, and I was just like, no, not a good joke.
A little bit, yeah, too
Sick of
self-aware.
sticking gate on the end of things to mean controversy.
Yeah.
Did this feel like an episode of The Simpsons?
Kind of. I mean, let's say it was an episode of The Simpsons which was Simpsons-esque.
Yeah.
But
I would say there are definitely other episodes that are less Simpsons, and this feels more Simpsons for this season than some
but
other...
like traditionally, I guess the characters were on point, and even Mr. Burns, I don't know, historically had occasional dalliances into being good.
yeah, that's
like-
a good point.
But like only fleetingly. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, you know, I'll do that when pigs fly.
But yeah,
Let's do that now. No,
I don't
it's
think
like,
I'll
you
do
know,
that.
Let's
Reference
not.
to Burns's like rough childhood though, with his dad burning down.
True,
the
with,
comic
but
book.
so
they've been
dark.
fairly
Yeah.
fractured with his past as well. I mean, you know, in oh god, I can't remember the name of the episode, but Rosebud, where like
Yeah.
it's him with his family, and he's named Happy, and you know he gets taken away by like the rich millionaire, and he's like, let's roll, but then they go back to his original parents here, who, you know,
We're also wealthy, apparently.
apparently
Yeah.
wealthy enough to buy a publishing house and burn it to the ground with all the people locked inside.
Yeah, like it's a good point as well, but also Simpsons continuity is so messed up that like the episode when they're talking about when Lisa was born, when are they, like late 70s 80s then?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it would have been sort of like 80s, but they were referencing it like it was the past, so they wanted to give it like a 1920s, 30s sort of feel.
So yeah, like okay, so they're just having Lisa in the 80s in that episode, and then in a season, I think it was 19 episode, they're talking about how Homer and Marge, after high school, went to university, but it was all set in the 90s.
Yeah, seemed weird because like there was the whole grunge thing.
Yeah.
Was it? Yeah.
Even in this episode, Grandpa was talking about back in 1998.
Yeah.
He had grey hair. Did you see that?
Yeah,
Did you notice
yeah.
that? I was
I
like,
saw that.
what the fuck?
Yeah,
He's never
and like
had grey
Jasper had a
hair.
black beard
Yeah,
still.
exactly.
You know, it's like
1998? Really?
yeah, I remember 1998. Jasper had a white beard back in
Yeah.
1998.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And Grandpa was looking exactly like Grandpa.
Yeah.
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 So yeah, we just count the moments lucky when they stick to the continuity.
Yeah,
at this
that's a good
stage.
point.
Any other quotable moments that you can think of off the top of your head?
I think every time that Mr. Burns says "bah,"
Yeah.
ties me back to "bah, Flimshaw."
Yeah.
With the atom smashing plant.
Yeah.
But I think that's about it, really. There's no other bit which is kind of stuck in my head.
I don't think it was a particularly quotable episode.
Yeah, the things I enjoyed most were the visual gags, like, although the line when Smithers is confessing that he's actually been setting up all the crime things that Fruit Batman stops, and Mr. Burns goes, "Wait, that was you? What about the abominable Lenny?"
Yeah.
The abominable Dr. Lenny.
Yeah, oh, that one was real.
I like that. I like, Lenny jokes.
Yeah.
But yeah, most of the Fruit Batman stuff was visual, like, with Bane. Homer is Bane, Carl is Penguin, Lenny is whatever. And that was good. And yeah, like when his costume's falling apart in the first one where he's breaking up the thing at the Quickie Mart. Yeah. Oh, actually, when he's giving chase to Groundskeeper Willie at the end, and Groundskeeper's like, it's like fighting a silk scarf.
Oh, actually, I did
Yeah.
enjoy that one.
Yeah, kind of, making fun of the fact that Mr. Burns is just so
Or a
vulnerable.
kimono
It's
tie
like-
or something. Was it? Kimono belt.
a kimono sash or some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, it's like I think any mention of Mr. Burns being so withered and frail that like it's just all diseases happening at once to the point that like they're all jamming through the door at the same time. Yeah. Hilarity ensues on that one.
That was actually good. Yeah.
All right, let's rank this thing. All right, I'll kick it off now.
Okay.
I'm going to give it a participant because although normally I have participants ones that don't give me major highs or lows, this one gave me highs for Fruit Batman but gave me lows for Youth Court, so I'm comfortable giving it a participant.
Yeah. I'm gonna go and give it a bronze, I think. Again, sort of like no major highs, but no major lows. At no point did I really cringe like savagely through this to the point where I was thinking, oh man, this is just a shit episode.
Yeah.
So I didn't cringe enough for it to be participant or less. So default bronze?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to say bronze as well. I laughed quite a lot. I think that's really important for The Simpsons. And it was generally enjoyable. I would watch it again. So, I'd give it a bronze.
Not bad scores.
Yeah.
Come to think of it, we have been drinking. So
That's
I mean,
why
like,
I put the episodes on later. It just gives them the best possible chance.
yeah, I mean, like
they're
you're,
never gonna be cubic zirconias.
No.
you're being kind, yeah, but it's like I feel that I may be being a little less savage than one may be whilst dealing with the harsh reality of sobriety.
Yep.
In the cold light of day.
Yeah.
Sobriety.
The onus with which sobriety brings. Yes.
That's why we drink at night.
Yes.
All right, cool. Well, yeah, that has been episode 8 of The Simpsons Index. Listen, Dave, thank you for joining me tonight.
Oh, you are more than welcome. Thank you for coming around.
Awesome. And, to quote Simpsons again, enchiladas. Oh, you make excellent food, Dave.
Oh, you are
He
welcome.
does.
I am just I live to give.
Oh, we can't not quote The Simpsons. Like you said, when we're old and senile, that'll be...
That's all that's left.
that's all that's gonna happen. It's like, I'm hungry, I want to poo, and then some Simpsons quote. I was gonna say something, but it's it's gone for some reason. Oh, I'm not gonna be a good old person.
Don't worry, it's in there.
Senility's kicking in already.
Yeah, I think maybe my brain is saving it for when there's going to be nothing left but Simpsons quotes.
All right, guys. Well, that's been great. That was episode 8. I'm your host, Elliot J. O'Neill, and I'm not tapping out. Woo. Thank you for checking out the Simpsons Index podcast. Don't forget to go to www.thesimpsonsindex.com for the spreadsheet and information about upcoming episodes.